episode of Pull Up a Share JA, powered by Loop News and brought to you in partnership with Esirom Limited.
Guys, my daughter just blew my mind. Tell them anything about trade disputes.
CARICOM got it right when they made the Central Dispute Resolution Body.
You'll hear that? Tell them why.
Individuals who are negatively affected as a result of trade and economic agreements have access to a proper settlement process.
How did she know that?
Anyone can get in and stay in the know. Download the Loop app today.
Every article about millennials tells us that they are powering the experience economy, craving events and interactions over material goods. They save up and line up their experiences, and brands have heard the call, pouring more and more resources into experiential marketing. But while experiential should be in its renaissance, we find it at its worst. Instead of interested in memorable and emotional interactions, many are just glorified social content studios, labeled as experiences. This episode will be discussing brand experience in the COVID-19 era. My guests today are Nasha Douglas, Chief Marketing Officer at Digicel, and Alex Morrissey, Director of Esirom Limited. So before we jump into everything, the first thing I want to get into, Nasha and Alex, is just what is a brand by definition, based on the experiences that you both have. Nasha, you could start.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, it's simple: people, person, place, thing. A brand is a persona, it's a personality, it's an experience, it's the lasting effect of whatever consumers feel interacting with it or you.
I love that. Alex?
Just have to steal Nasha.
No! You need to
that
give
was
us one.
straight out of a dictionary. That was perfect. I mean, a brand for us, it changes based on, people, as you mentioned, our brands know, which I don't think prior to social media, they were considered a brand. Maybe they're just a personality or a celebrity, but it has so many different subcategories now. So a brand, it could be just anything, like you said, anything, and it's just how you push it.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2019, of course, COVID happened and the entertainment industry was severely affected. So I know a lot of brands pivoted to just having digital experiences and brand experiences on digital. So Nasha, I want you to get in terms of Digicel Unplugged and how that conceptualization came about to just feed and engage with your consumers digitally.
Well, I mean, I only make decisions based on sometimes what I need. And when COVID happened, and this will surprise a lot of people, I'm actually quite introverted, so I have no issues being at my house all the time. Yeah. But when COVID happened, I fell in love with something called Versus. And when we decided, because you talk about pivoting, I don't think we have stopped just having to hit the ground running for March 10th. How can we engage not being on the ground? Because Digicel is known to be in we love grassroots. We love to be in communities. We love to be on the ground. We love to interact. So we're like, how can we still maintain that connection? And then I'm like, well, I want my own Versus. I want to match up and pair different personalities and entertainers and have them perform in these intimate or unique settings. What makes me feel like it's for me, like an individual, have that experience and connection, because sometimes it's really hard doing that digitally, especially with music. Yeah. We're so used as a culture to be submerged in live music. You want that sweaty feeling in a concert. You want to see that entertainer on stage. Like, how can we bring that experience to your home and to you on a personal basis? And for me, it couldn't be done in like this mass setting. It had to be, if the event was paired with the person that was performing. So if you'd said the first one was acoustic with Jesse Royal, it was in somebody's home, it was in a living room setting, it was them playing instruments. Then the dance hall version was a pair up between Bounty and Beanie, so it was much more aggressive. But it was all unique to the person and the personas. And then they kind of had to connect with you through that, lens. So.
Got you. And then Alex, I know on your side, you did the Earth Acoustic series, but I know it's something that was conceptualized earlier before COVID happened. But how did you reformat it to give it back to the audience during that time?
Well, I mean, we didn't have a choice. We had to go virtual or not have the event again, which is what happened last year. Mm-hmm. I thought initially, having a virtual concert with artists on set and pre-recording it and then editing it. I thought it was going to be easier than actually having the event, but it turns out it's just the same. The only difference is you don't have to worry about the people at the venue and police and certain permits, but everything else is the same. So it just goes to show the work that you have to put in to pull off like a really good virtual event. And Nasha was saying that connection that you lose when you're not there, you have to make sure that the artists that you select that are performing can bring that energy out on the screen. So it was a new experience, and we're definitely happy with the results. I mean, over 70,000 people watched it, and that's more than we could expect. Normally, we have a venue with 5,000 people, so it's a big shift. Virtual events in particular. I mean, when we first started live streaming, we actually did some with Digicel. I mean, that was a long time ago, and it just goes to show like how over time these type of services that were done once with a webcam, how it has completely changed. And it's good for us as a business as well, because clients are now taking it more seriously, and they see the level of production that it has to go in. It's not just shooting a video and uploading it. There's all these different ways to do it. So it's definitely something that we are doing more of, and we want to do more events like Earth Hour, especially because we were able to connect with people all around the world, in just one go. So I'm not even sure if we're gonna even move back to a physical event later. I don't know. It's a lot to deal with.
So I know we're talking a lot about just like the execution and the brand side, but in terms of Jamaicans, because Jamaicans are people that just love to emote and connect so highly, and even said aggressively in the dancehall version. So how do you still tap into your audiences, even though it's virtual, in terms of these new experiences that we've pivoted to?
So the majority of ours were live. So we connect, the brand is connecting with you in the chat. So you'll see the comments, and you are answering them in the comments, and you're engaging them in the comments. And, even the team became a part of, that experience. Yeah. And I think that was the best part for me, because I'd be at home watching and seeing what people's reaction were. And I then know, okay, how am I going to change the next one? Or how am I going to improve on the one that we just did? Was literally through the mouths of our consumers.
That real-time conversation. What about you, Alex? Or was it kind of similar in terms of Earth Hour?
I would say there are different types of people that watch it. One comment that we got from a lot was, I mean, it's live, so it's kind of hard to do what they want, but they wanted to just tune in for their artist. They didn't necessarily want to watch the whole show. So we definitely see different spikes throughout the show. I don't think we posted the running order, but maybe that would be something useful to post, so that people know they can join in at this time, because we had other different elements of the show. We had a host, and she would kind of give information about the event and about the cause. So, that's just time in between. So people really wanted to come and support their artists in the moment, which is, I guess, is something we can look into the future. But I think tapping into the audiences, the pre-promotion, I think, is an area where we're failing in Jamaica. A lot of the brands, they're not giving enough promotion. Audiences have so many options, aside from Netflix, but just other companies doing things. I think there needs to be a much longer period of promotion so that you can get as many people to watch. Yeah.
So in terms of just like your experiences with brand experiences in digital, what makes experience shareable versus memorable?
What's the difference?
I know it's a weird difference, but I think just in terms of that lasting mindset would be memorable, whereas in the moment it could be shareable, but you forget after.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm not that deep. I feel like if it's memorable, I'm going to share it. And I found that when they're truly organic, like there's these little nuggets that come out that are so real, right? That people connect because they're real. And I think COVID would have changed a lot of our mindsets about how we view life and how we want to view experiences, whether it's with people that we know or just generally, and even with brands. I don't want anything fake. right? I want my moment with whatever brand to be real. So, I mean, my classic example of my last year, which is probably the best thing I've ever done in my career, was to secretly sponsor Versus. And I didn't even sponsor Versus. I just wanted to put the internet in there because we're talking about a time where people have to educate at home. They have to work from home. And I'm like, I know my internet is better. I'm going to use this as the way to show that it's better, because all the Versus before that one, before the dancehall one, failed at delivering an experience because of the poor quality of the internet. Yeah. And, we reached out when we heard that they were going to do it and said, okay, we'll give you whatever you need in terms of capacity for free. Do not call my name though until the end, right? Then you would have seen what happened with that moment.
Everybody saw.
But what were the nuggets of that moment? When the police came to lock it off, and when Beanie Man is engaging, the two of their relationship was just so real, right? And all of those things not only made it memorable,
but also shareable.
Oh my God, we're still leveraging that. I mean, I'm probably going to leverage it till I die, but like it was that just real and organic, that one moment that it forced them to put everybody together going forward. Yeah. Right. So to me, it's just the nuggets of reality and what people know. Because then you remember what it was like being in a dance when the police come to lock it off and when the peanut man is out there and the weed man and the this man. So. Yeah.
Well, you just encapsulated it so well. So I know Alex is going to say that in his response because it was really true.
Yeah, okay. I would say from more of a technical standpoint, people are looking for quality as well. So I think that is what's gonna make them decide, am I gonna share this? Is it what my friends or family are going to want to watch? Because, it's quality. Nobody wants to watch something that's the audio you can barely hear and the video is in and out. So I think that has a major role to play these days in what makes people decide, should I share this? And then, you have people that will share things privately. They'll just in the DMs, and then there are people who will post it publicly on the page. I think that's kind of dropping these days, especially if the audience is shifting away from Facebook. Instagram people are very like, let me keep it clean. I'll put it in my story, it goes away. So Facebook, for me, I would say, is not to be forgotten. It's still the most shareable platform. So we push our clients like, don't forget, let's do it on Facebook too. You have a big audience there, just not utilizing it. And then memorable, I guess, it's the moments, whatever happens in it. I mean, I go back and I watch Earth Hour because there are certain artists that maybe I haven't seen in person ever. And the performance was just that good. And I think as well in planning shows like that, you have to make sure and let the performers know, don't do what you've done before, try to find a different way to innovate this performance. So for Earth Hour, I remember Munga was just going on and on about how COVID has affected him as a performer and kind of telling a story, which is unique to this performance because it's like, this is the first time I'm coming out since this. So having those, being honest with the audience and telling a story will help to make it live on. Yeah.
Actually, I know we spoke on the social media aspect of promoting a little bit before, but in terms of just optimizing the social media experiences for your Digicel Unplugged audience and your Earth Hour audience, like how did you do that to just like go deeper in terms of the social media interaction as lead up for the show or even like post?
So, and you're right, what I think failed at doing at the beginning was to heavily promote it, especially through our social channels. We later decided that we had to because we saw the numbers waning, and especially during, depending on the act that we would have had. So pre-promotions was critical to just us moving forward. Also, it was live on social, it was free. Yeah. Right? That won't be that way going forward, because that bill started to get a bit high. But it was live on all our social media channels for free. I actually found that Facebook performed better than Instagram. We then had to pivot and make sure that every piece of content that we do, we had to start populating our YouTube channel.
Because people wanted to go back to see it.
And we started leveraging YouTube more for advertising. So we're like, because, you know, we have music platforms and stuff that we sell now. So we're like, okay, we need to start putting this channel in a way that it's so well curated that when you think of Digicel, you go there for cultural experiences, music, you know, film, whatever it is that we do, we put it there. We don't do hardcore commercial ads there. You know, it's supposed to be a really interactive space. So it was critical to that success. I don't feel like even though we live in a country where radio is so important and traditional TV may be so important, we found that this was the space, social media was the space that we had to thrive in because that was the audience that we wanted.
How so about you?
Yeah. To add to that, I would say the pre-planning process of just getting everybody involved, because there are certain times where, like, maybe we're on a production and the client wants an IG live. And I don't know about anybody else, but for me, watching IG lives that are not shot in a vertical format, it drives me crazy.
Absolutely.
I cannot watch this little small screen. So what clients also need to understand, or anybody producing these things, that it's a completely different way to shoot that and to get it right, because, you know, you can only fit one person vertically at a time. So all of that has to be taken into consideration. So when we're doing live stuff or these kind of things, we make sure and get an understanding of the audience, who you're trying to reach. Are they on Instagram? If they're not on Instagram, forget it. So we try not to put it all on all platforms if they're not going to have a great experience watching it. Sometimes we're overruled, but that's that. But I would say YouTube right now is the best place to watch things, because it's the only one that's 1080. Everywhere else, the quality just drops. And I see that Zoom is becoming kind of like this trendy thing to put stuff on.
I don't know. I'm not a fan.
I don't know. It's terrible. So just the pre-planning and the promotion, and when I say promotion as well, it's like not just putting out a flyer saying this is happening on this day. Tell people where to go to watch it. Give them the options. Give them all the links, because all of these things can be set up and scheduled before, so that there's no guessing on the day. You know, when I watch these things that are done out of America, they spend a lot of time educating people, like, this is how you get notifications on YouTube. So you know, even if you forget, it will pop up on your phone. Yeah. So we still have a long way to go, but, you know, I know sometimes these things just pop up and we kind of have to rush to do it. One other thing I would say about the pre-planning part and the promotion is to generate leads. So when you're doing an event and maybe let's say you want to reach 10,000 people, maybe you don't. You know, you can run an ad after, repurpose the content, but you can also collect the data of these people that are interested in whatever you're putting out. So by just adding lead forms on Facebook or Instagram, you can just collect all of this data on these people, and then now the next time you want to do a show, you have 10,000 people that are interested that you can send out an email, you know, or SMS, so forth.
So I know we just touched on just like metrics a little bit in terms of identifying performance and how people engage, but besides just social metrics, what else do you measure a virtual event being great? And of course, the huge moments of all the memes coming from that Versus episode.
So I'm going to be very boring and say my sales. Because if you actually watch any of our Digicel Unplugged, there's advertising in there, right? There is, when we have our intermission, you're seeing an ad. If we have a host, the host is speaking about a particular product, but of course in a way that fits the experience that they're watching. I mean, there are people in there commenting, telling you what to go and purchase. Because in the job that I have it has to be quantifiable. You know, people above me don't care about engagement rates. You know, it's a nice to do for them. They want to know, well, if you spent this much money,
how did you convert?
How you converted that into actual sales? And we can tell based on how we've set up our back end, and based on what we're pushing at the time. So,
got you, Alex. Because I know for you, it's like clients, so based on their KPIs.
Well, clients and us as a company as well, since Earth Hour is something that we produce, I would say on that side, it would be about monetizing that content. That's so making sure that, so Earth Hour is like acoustic vibes, so that's done intentional so that, you know, both the artists and ourselves, because we give them the content, they can put it on their channel and monetize it when they want. I guess on the client side, they want views, but they want to know how long did somebody watch this. You know, we have a 1 hour webinar. Did people start dropping off after 10 minutes? A lot of times they do, because we are treating webinars like live events. People cannot sit down and interact on a screen the same way. So even how webinars are done, we need to change that style. And we need to remember that people have very, very short attention spans. Get to the point with whatever we're trying to get to them. You know, we don't have to go this long road. And then make it more interactive. You know, if you want people to sign up and you're having a promotion, you're pushing it through this webinar, have a WhatsApp number. Something that people can do right in the moment. Call, sign up, whatever it is. Have that call to action. But I think we'll lose people when we put out a phone number and an email address and then
assume they'll do something.
Because how realistically, you watching it, are you going to screenshot that and then write it down? You're not going to do that. You have to make it very, very easy. So that's what we're trying to get them to do now, to see, you know, you're losing out on opportunities because you're just creating something, maybe because your boss told you to, and you need to, you know, make a mark. But are you really denting, you know, your objectives there? So.
Got you. So I know we spoke a lot about virtual events, but of course things are changing again. We're pivoting again in terms of hybrid events, in terms of some physical, some virtual. So in terms of where do we go from here, in terms of things you see happening in the future, which is like brand experiences virtually, what do you think are some changes that you see or even want to take advantage of?
So we did 2 series last year. Digicel Unplugged was one, and I said it came out of a need to just wanting that to still be connected to music. The second one was the Digicel Business Solutions Masterclass series. And that I thought of and created being on LinkedIn a lot during last year. And I don't know why, but LinkedIn became my new place for content. And as I'm on there, you realize that there are a lot of people had kind of shifted to this wanting this personal development vibe in their lives, which is why there was so much baking and like all this DIY stuff going on last year, learning to cook and all of that stuff. And so I said, what would be the greatest thing for this product that I have? I feel like it's way too salesy, right? Because it's run by a salesperson. So it's a very salesy part of our business stream, but there's no personality to it. And I'm like, I want an Oprah Masterclass. So we developed a series and I think it was probably for me more successful than Unplugged because we generated leads through it. We created a spin-off series from it because people were so locked into it I think it was 10 episodes, right, Jody? Like it was 10 episodes. And we had all these different Jamaican business leaders telling their story that you've never heard their story before. Yeah. And then you were blown away. You're like, Chris Williams did that. Like Chris Williams came from there. Like he's this guy now. And then what it spin off into, because of consumers, because it was live comment, they could ask questions that we filtered, was I want like a mentorship from these people. So then we did a competition where 10 people got to win mentorship lunches with each of the mentors that we did. So it because I'm big on, I want to make the world a better place, right? That is my personal passion or pursuit or purpose. And so whatever I can do to improve somebody's life, I'm gonna try. Yeah. So for me, virtual experiences moving forward needs to tap into whatever that consumer need is. Where we are targeting, what do they need from you right now? And then evolve it from there. Like have them tell you how to have the consumer co-create the experience with you.
Alex, what about you?
I'm a little worried about the future of virtual content. I mean, on one side, brands are doing it more. They're going to want more. Can companies deliver what they want? Because I think it's just going to become a norm now, like making a post. So that's a concern for me on one side. On the other side, how much longer are we going to rely on the social media platforms? I mean, everybody went crazy the other day when...
I did.
Yeah, when they went down. And based on what's going on in the States and how it's going to be regulated moving forward, I'm not even sure, I don't want to jinx it, but Instagram may not exist, in the long term, based on just the effects, the mental effects that it's causing, which I even see in our office sometimes. So it's a very powerful tool. So they're probably going to do a lot of checks to make sure that people who continue to create content, they have to follow some strict guidelines. So that is what I think is going to happen. I mean, even Instagram now, they've made it harder to share a post. Like you have to go through this, saving the link, and it's not just sharing anymore. So I think brands need to think about where all of this content is going to be hosted in the future if social media disappears or if it evolves into other platforms. Because as we've seen over the years, it took Facebook a very long time to get where they are now. So a new platform is going to, have those baby steps to get there, like a TikTok. So yeah, I'm unsure about the future of all this virtual content. It can either be good or bad.
Got you. Then in terms of experiential marketing, what are just some overall tips that you would give to brands or even just creators listening to this episode about how to just be more experiential in their marketing initiatives?
For me, it's very simple. It's about attention to detail. I do mass events, but there has to be some experiences in it where you feel like it was done for you. And I can't even explain what that is off the top of my head right now with the current life that we're living. I've kind of parked my unplugs for a bit and other things, all these things to try and reimagine what the space is, because remember, it's evolving every day for us, right? We were outside and then we were back inside, and I'm personally now where I'm digital out, meaning I'm on Teams calls for 8 hours of the day. So you think by the time I go home, I even want to look at a phone to watch anything? I get very frustrated. I'm like, no. I hear movies are opening back up. I'm going to the drive-thru this Saturday just because I need to have an outside-in experience. Exactly. So I really couldn't answer that because I'm kind of paying attention to where we go next and to try and figure out and navigate my own self around COVID. And, we all thought it was going to end this year, remember? I have zero hopes of that for 22. So I'm kind of just rolling with the flow at this point, and I'm staying really connected to what is happening out there so that I hate using this word, pivot quickly again.
Gotcha. Alex?
I would say definitely have a budget if you're planning to do these things,
Yes,
and,
yes. Because the production quality is now...
Right. So if you can't afford what you want to do, cut back your expectations.
Absolutely.
And it really is trial and error for online stuff. You really just have to, if you're new to it and you don't really have a built-up audience, you don't have, your profiles, you just have to put it out there. And if it's good content, people will watch it, people will find it. Yeah. And just go from there. So, start small if you don't have the budget.
Gotcha. So just before we close the episode, I want both of you to just leave 3 tips for just any creators that may be listening in terms of just how they can be better marketers, they can be better communicators to their audiences in terms of their personal brand experience that they give.
3.
3, yeah.
I'm a one-trick pony. Number 1 for me is always about authenticity. We see fake and we're not interested, right? Especially when it coming from for content. I watched Dave Chappelle's special last night. That's super controversial. Clearly have my own different views on it, but what I respect about him is that he lives his truth. He's super unapologetic about it, and you have to respect that. So authenticity is one for me. Number two is to listen. Pay attention to what your audience or your target is saying and needing, and be in the moment with them. I hate when brands are on their own journey. I don't know who they're talking to, and I try to figure out who you actually talking to. Nobody wants this. Yeah. You know, so pay attention and be respectful of where they are on the journey. And I think for three, for me, it goes back to your point around investment. If you want the sky, pay for the sky. And if you can't afford to pay for the sky, be very real about shifting your priorities, because I hate when somebody starts something and they're great on the first one, and then I don't see anything for months. Or they just fall off and never do it again. I will never follow you again. I come over it, you know, because I have a very short attention span. So if you come out and you're saying you're going to have this weekly series on food, and I love the first one, be consistent about delivering it.
Can't you? Alex?
3 tips.
You can't say the same things.
Can't say the same thing. 3 tips. First tip, rewatch this video. Lot of useful insights in it. Second tip, research. Because, you know, you don't really need somebody to tell you what to do. Everything is already out there. Yeah. And normally the best information is from the source itself. So, you know, Facebook has tons of resources on streaming. They're not shy about it. And same for all the other platforms. So the research is very important. And then, I mean, my third tip is kind of what I always say. Just do it. You know, you can't really be afraid. Something may go wrong. Something might go wrong. Probably will go wrong.
Yeah. Always go wrong.
But, you know, you're only going to learn from experience. So, fail and then do the next better.
So I just want to thank you so much for being a part of this episode of Pull Up a Share GA. And I'm so excited for everybody to just watch this episode because so much information was shared. So I just want to tell everybody thanks for tuning in and see you on the next episode.